One significant application of ethics is in the form of human rights. A human right is a moral value or norm that concerns human existence, such as human behavior, safety, and health. More specifically, a right is something that a human is entitled to. So human rights as a discipline both defines what is considered a right and how it's to be applied. Now, rights are inalienable. They cannot be taken away from humans as a whole. They can only be taken away from individuals in extreme circumstances. For example, when someone is incarcerated due to being found guilty of a crime. Rights can be natural, inherent to humans, all humans, regardless of class or category, and they're not conditional. They apply to any human who simply exists. Now, some rights are not considered natural. They may only be considered true with regards to specific cultures and traditions. In some cases, they may be derived from religious beliefs, believing that a god bestows rights on humans. These rights are not inalienable and may be taken away, for instance, by the government, by the god, etc. What is considered a right is a matter of philosophical debate. There's no total agreement. However, some societies that emphasize human rights identify the following rights: the right to live freely, the right to think freely, the right to speak or express oneself freely, the right to fair and equal treatment under the law, the right to a fair trial or to move freely or to own property, the right to participate in commerce or defend oneself from others, the right to public assembly, the right to have a say in one's government or to education. We should also note that the UN's Universal Declaration of Human Rights, a historic global agreement on fundamental human rights, is to be universally protected. Because there is considerable debate about rights, there's also conflict. Not just conflict between what should and should not be a right, but conflict on how to apply rights. Sometimes human rights are at odds with societal values. For instance, national security, social harmony, the rule of law. Giving up privacy can be a conflict of your human rights, but in line with the protection of society. In some circumstances, rights may be minimized or violated, and there may be legal precedent for upholding either side of the conflict. Now, similar to human rights is the concept of animal rights. There's considerable debate as to what degree, if any, non-human animals can have rights. The most basic support for animal rights includes the right to avoid suffering. Others argue for more rights, such as the right to live and be free from captivity or testing. Others argue that animals do not have moral agency and therefore cannot have rights, due to a lack of sentience or sapience. The right to live is very contentious. Some argue that killing animals is acceptable if their death provides utility. Others argue that killing animals is rarely, if ever, justified. Nevertheless, the principle of avoiding suffering tends to be universal.